and welcome to 3Q the Artist, the podcast designed to go beyond the typical artist interview by asking 3 questions in just 15 minutes. I'm your host, Rachel Vogel, and joining me tonight is R&B artist and producer Col3trane. He's an American-Egyptian-Londoner known for his futuristic sound and appealing visual style. At 18 years old, he gained popularity with the release of his mixtape, which received over 3 million streams on Spotify within just 1 month. In early 2022, he released his debut album, Lush Life, featuring collaborations with Lucky Daye, Flatbush Zombies, and S.G. Lewis. And with nearly 275 million streams and numerous campaigns under his belt, he's an independent act on the rise. So, Cole, welcome to the podcast. Are you ready to get started? How's it going?
I'm good. That was a great intro. Thank you very much. Made me
Thank
sound
you.
fantastic.
Thank you for doing all the accomplishments that I had to list.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, with that, are you ready for the first question?
Yeah, let's get it. Let's get into
Let's
it.
get started. I've heard many artists say, I am my music and my music is me. So what does that statement mean to you?
Oof. I guess I am my music and my music is me. I guess that just when you say that, I think about honesty and I think about the kind of the honesty and the integrity that it takes to be an artist, because like you can do things that are contrived and you can do things that like, you think people are going to like that don't feel real or true to you, but like people always feel that, people can always sense like fakeness, fabrication. So I guess to be an artist is to be honest with yourself and true to yourself and like, having conviction in your artistic decisions and a reflection, an honest reflection of the person that you are, right? And it will reflect you as a person. Your music will reflect you as a person, and I guess you will reflect your music in some capacity. So yeah, that's what that made me think of.
So I'm curious, with your very first project that you put out, and then fast forward to now, the most recent project that you put out, has your writing process and like creative process changed? I'm sure it has. And how has it changed?
Loads, so much. I mean, I don't know, like when I started like making music with anyone other than myself, I was like 17 and I'm 24 now. And I think that like I've just like, just grown so much as a person, as a man, that like naturally that's going to reflect in the way that I do things and the way that I work. And like I've gone through phases of like of my approach to music. I think that like specifically the approach hasn't changed that much. Like I still like go to the studio, I still like meet people, I still like try stuff, and like I just follow what feels good. But I think the main thing that's changed isn't necessarily the like specifics of the approach, but more so just like my perspective. I think that like and that's so important as a artist, is like your perspective is everything. And yeah, I think that like I'm a little bit more open-minded now. I'm a little bit more certain of myself. Like I said, I was a child when I started like writing songs. So obviously having grown up a little bit, I'm a bit more sure of myself. I know what I want. I know what I like. More so than I did when I was younger. And yeah, I think obviously that that reflects itself in the process. I also think that like when I was younger, I used to just like go to studios everywhere with like anyone and just like go and make songs, and like because I just wanted to meet people, I just wanted to be like in the mix and like doing stuff. And now I'm much more like guarded,
Selective, yeah.
protective. Yeah, selective, exactly. um yeah.
All right, moving on to question 2. Every industry has its dirty little secrets, and they can be both positive and negative. What's one secret you would like to share about the music industry?
My dirty little secret. Okay, here's one that some people might not necessarily know, and something that I've been talking about recently. Um and I think people in the industry will know this, but people outside might not really know this, is that there is no money in being a songwriter at all. On the business side, you get treated like shit, and you get sold dreams, and you get lied to, and you always get the smaller slice of the pie, and there's no money in it. And that's been I've seen that firsthand, because I've written songs with and for people, and I've also seen like friends of mine, peers of mine, just people around me who have had songs that do really, really well that they've written, and they get absolutely no, they get nothing on the back. I mean, they get something, but like chump change on the back end. Songwriters aren't really entitled to record royalties at all. Songwriters don't get fees. Songwriters, like, more often than not, will come to a session, pay for parking, pay for their own food, and leave a session, and you're praying that that song comes out, even though the probability is such that it probably won't. And even if it does come out, you're going to get by far the smallest slice of the pie, and you've got to wait years to see even a dime from a song. And that's even if that song gets 1 billion streams. So yeah, that's something that I think people need to know.
Did you start out writing songs and then transition to like being a producer and an artist, or have you kind of started at the artist side of things, producer side of things, and transition more into songwriting?
I started as an artist, and like making songs for myself, and then it was kind of like presented to me the opportunity of like, oh, you should write for this person, and it was always something that I've thought that I'd be good at and that I really enjoy doing. That's the thing, is that I really like writing with and for other people, because it allows me to just go into a completely different creative headspace. But it's criminal the way that songwriters get treated in the on the business side of things, and it's something that really, really needs to change, because like producers will get record royalties and will get advances for their productions on their work and da 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 da, but songwriters aren't entitled to any of that. And yeah, it's
Yeah,
fucked up.
it's brutal. I'm glad that you shouted that
It
out.
is.
All right. Final question. Today, you are 24 years old. So I need you to
Yep.
think about when you're going to be 75 years old and you're going to be
Fuck.
interviewed for a retrospective on your career and your life in general. What would you hope to be able to say about each?
My life and my career.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay? I mean, hopefully, hopefully people like retrospect. Hopefully, I'll look back and think that, I was kind as a person. I was nice. I was respectful. I was generous. Like all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all the things that my mom would have, raised me to be, so that, like, if she's like proud at that point, it's like, all right, cool, I've done
You've done
enough.
it.
That's kind of like that's the benchmark as a human being. Like, yeah, if I can do that, then I've done something right. Career wise, honestly, people I've been asked a similar question before, and I think that like the most important thing for me is I would like to be remembered as someone who had like had conviction in their artistry, like didn't just do shit for the sake of doing it, but did things with intention, and um, did things because they felt right, and never did anything that was contrived or trying to do da 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 da. But just, I want to make good music, and I want to keep making good music until, uh, well, as long as I can, as long as anyone cares to listen. So um, I hope that is what I'm remembered for, and consistency
Mm-hmm.
as well. Um, because I love making music. It's like the only thing that I think I'm any good at. And I I would like to do it until I'm 75, and
Yeah.
hopefully I'll be able to look back and and people will appreciate that, you know,
Wonderful.
the effort and the work that went into it for sure.
So before we close out this interview, I have to know, where did the name Col3trane come from?
I wish that it was a that there was like a great like story that I was like, you know, distantly related to John Coltrane or something like that. But honestly, it was just a name that stuck. I was like the only one of my friends when I was a teenager that was listening to jazz. And I was always listening to like a bunch of different types of music and da 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 da. And then like I think maybe one of my, I don't even know how it came about, but probably something like one of my friends saw me listening to like, you know, Giant Steps or something like that. I don't know. And it was like, oh, Coltrane, and it just stuck since I was like 16, and yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Cole, thanks so much for joining me and taking the time to give us a little inside view to your world. And to our listeners, I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode just as much as I did. Check out Coltrane's latest hits on Spotify at the link below. And stay tuned for next week of 3Q the Artist, the podcast that goes beyond the typical artist interview by asking 3 questions in just 15 minutes. See you then.